Good morning. Voice check. I feel pretty good. I think there's still some lingering effects of whatever, but I feel pretty good. Talkie wise. Young Tofi. Bananas. Why are we talking about bananas? Because Falco ate a banana. Okay. Yeah, glad that got cleared up. I'm not gonna guess. No, I'm not gonna guess. Hey, are you doing the bracket challenge again this year, Falco? I got an email, I think from CBS or whatever, that like either like, hey, sign up for Falco's league or show your interest that you're renewing in the league or something like that. I don't know. If you do that, can you not invite all the Purdue kids this year? Because what annoys me about the Purdue kids is they'll always have Purdue going all the way, and Purdue hasn't made the Final Four since 1980, I believe, but this might be the year where they do it. So I'm going to be stuck in a situation where I either need to put all of my eggs in the Purdue basket, or I'm just going to get steamrolled by like Mizuno and Toasty, and like half this community apparently goes to West Lafayette. So if you could just ban all the Purdue kids so it's easier for me to win, that'd be awesome. Zach Edey. And they said when Caleb Swanigan was gone, Purdue was going to fall off. No section on the chess invitational? You think I wasn't going to mention it at some point? I just can't dedicate a whole segment to it. I didn't win it, so I'm not going to spend time talking about it. Why would I? If I won it, it'd be the whole episode. Because that's what you guys would want to hear, how awesome I am. But I didn't win it, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time. Cactus, what's the next episode of the Cactus Patch? The Catch Pass? Podcast. Catch Cast. Oh, hey, thank you, Stream Elements. I'm now live. I was wondering. Thank you, Stream Elements. Who's your guest? Is it me? Why am I not on there? Nobody ever gives me an opportunity to say things. I think that's kind of messed up. Lupus Lunar. Getting hype in chat. Nito with a 1K tweet last week. Heard LSL 38. probably read it, but I guess you just heard me say it. No, Keon, you're not big enough. Unfortunate. Key who? Now, Keon 2,572. That feller is ratings gold. My Bluetooth driver is not getting power or something. I don't know. So my normal noise canceling headphones I'm not using. So I'm just using these generic headphones. And I think I'm talking louder because of it. Just because I'm just like how I hear myself is different, so I feel like I'm talking louder than what I normally do. Which is not good because the room right behind me is PJ, and 6 o'clock is when PJ is starting to go to bed. So, let's see how this goes. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you are feeling sad because Matt Pat is now retired from YouTube, asking people on the internet what team they remember you from, trying to set up a Pokemon gym battle thing for Splatoon, knowing the first gym will be an all-roller team. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Happy time loss day, or the day after we lose time kind of day. For those of you listening in the States, outside of, like, I think Arizona and maybe Hawaii or Alaska or something like that, we moved forward in time an hour. I woke up and I looked at the clock that I have in front of, like on our little nightstand or whatever, and it said 7:30 on Sunday. And I was like, okay, cool, I can go back to sleep. And then I looked at my phone and said 8:30. I was like, what? Nobody told me that this Sunday was going to be the time change, which is fine. Like, I'm all for the sun being out. Here in Indianapolis, the sun does not go down till like 8:30. In the summer, it'll be like late into 9 o'clock, and the sun will still be out, which is great. Hoping to get some more bike riding in when PJ goes to sleep in the summertime, and there's more time to kind of move around and do some stuff. Looking forward to the summer. So I'm all for the sun being out. And yeah, we lost an hour's sleep, but them's the breaks, as they say. Congratulations to the Steeler Nation in chat, who is getting Russell Wilson on a like a $1.2 million for the year contract, while the Broncos are paying pretty much all of it for the year. Hey, 10-win season never looked so good. That's definitely coming your way. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener to the podcast. Proving Grounds is this Saturday. Proving Grounds is now a monthly. It's no longer on Fridays. It is now Saturday at a time that is more EU friendly. Although I have no idea how that works with the us having the daylight saving time and some of Europe or all of Europe not. So it's still sign up, playing it on Saturday. There is a charity event that's going on this Saturday as well. It was announced yesterday. ProChara, along with a whole host of streamers and collaborators and content creators and whatnot, are hosting a 2-day event. Saturday is going to be a side order, some sort of speed run competition, I think. And then Sunday is another one of those tournaments where you have like $30 to spend, and you can only build a comp based off of like what $30 would be. I'm assuming like all the meta weapons are like $10 or something like that. It's one of those things that limits how you can build your comp based on how much money you want to spend for more expensive weapons or stuff. It was a pretty cool concept last time it was done, and I actually had the Barry on the Popcast the day after the last time Spawn Point TV ran a tournament like that. So it's cool that they're taking that same concept. It was a charity event then as well. The charity this time around is Palestine Children's Relief Fund, which I believe is the same exact organization that the money from last month's charity event was being raised for. And just looking through his Twitter stuff, I believe Hollow, who was one of the people or the main person who ran the last charity event last month for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, is also involved in this one as well. So that's good to see. Good to see some charity events. There's a charity event next week hosted by IPL and Dapple Productions, and it's hopefully the community can get behind this. I would assume it would. A lot of folks got behind the event last month, and that one was more of a competitive thing. This time around, you're bringing in all the content creators. They're going to bring in a huge casual audience to this event as well. So this one, I would assume, is going to be even bigger than the event last month. So keep an eye out for that. Today, we are going to be recapping Little Squid League number 30 frickin' 8. We'll be doing that today. But first, when I was a young boy, my father used to watch me as I played high school football, which I assumed wasn't that long ago. I graduated high school in 2009. It was 15 years ago. So yeah, time sure does fly there. And this is American football, mind you. I did grow up playing soccer a lot. I enjoy soccer, but this is the one where you're just kind of setting yourself up to die a lot shorter than what you probably would be if you didn't play this version of football. As I was growing up playing in these sports, starting off as a kid, I remember like my first memory of playing sports was probably coach pitch baseball with my brother when I was about 4 years old, maybe 4 or 5 years old. And when you grow up playing youth sports, at least when I was a kid in the part of the world where I grew up, trash talk wasn't really that much of a thing. You never really focused on your opponent. You just kind of focused on yourself and just having fun and running around and just enjoying life. Obviously, that changes a little as you get older, especially in the high school football realm. So when you're playing in a game, you got this helmet on your head, which just kind of like isolates you from everything around you except for like what you can see in the blinders. But as far as like communication, you can't really hear anything when you're out on a football field other than just like who's next to you. And that's not like because you're playing in this monstrous stadium and the crowd is loud and you like can't hear what anything's. No, like you're literally just so far away, and with all the stuff you have on, like your senses are just naturally limited because of everything that's going on. So if you were to say something to the person right next to you or the person right across from you who happens to be on the other team, the only person who could really hear it is the person you're talking to. And it's quite often that you would hear some of the absolute worst things ever uttered by human beings on a high school football field by either yourself or the opponent saying something right back to you, and nobody does anything about it because you're the only two that hears that kind of stuff. Now, I grew up in Kentucky and played at one of the most diverse high schools in the state, one of the most diverse high schools in the country, they told us. Our city was kind of I don't know what the official term for it was, but we did get a lot of refugees from foreign countries that would come in and live in our city and basically like become U.S. citizens in our city. So we had a lot of a melting pot, if you will. But the rest of Kentucky, not so much. So unfortunately, it was a pretty common thing that whenever we went deep into the western part of the state to play a football game, where you had a school where 100% of the students were as white as American Jesus, that were not very, didn't really hold back on their trash talks, as far as like crossing the lines were things and things like that were concerned. It was extremely common to hear the N word with the hard R just said like it was just something that just was like natural, just like water just like flowing out. It was insane. But that's kind of the reality of what you would hear a lot on a high school football field. That level of trash talk. And it was just, unfortunately, just something that was just kind of accepted just because you could get away with it. The ref couldn't hear you. And maybe, quite honestly, if the ref did hear you, might not even do anything about it. So that's a little bit of an extreme example of trash talking. But whenever I come into this internet world and I hear trash talk, that's usually my first thing that I go to think about is like, well, this is some trash talk like I personally experienced when most of this community was still like the age PJ is right now. And as I get older, I start to think, wait, well, I mean, at the time, but as you get older, you start to think, well, wait a minute. That's a horrible thing to compare it to. Like, it was awful back then, and it would certainly not be accepted right now. But unfortunately, I'm assuming things haven't really changed that much in that part of the world. Now, how does this translate to the trash talking that we're going to be talking about here in the competitive Splatoon scene, which is obviously a lot more tame than that, but still, how do you know when you cross the line a little bit here? Example coming from this past weekend. In the zone tournament on Saturday, winners finals, Jackpot versus an EU pickup. That I think their team name was just Toilet Bowl. They just had like a toilet emote as their team name. All right. Well, Toilet Bowl emote ended up beating Jackpot 3-1 in winners finals. A massive upset. Anybody knocking off Jackpot that doesn't have the name Starburst or FT Win in their name is kind of a big deal. And it's something worth being happy about, even if you haven't completely eliminated Jackpot from the tournament and they're still alive and well and able to play in these tournaments. In the loser side of things. Well, before the tournament end, Team Toilet, excited that they beat Starburst, tweeted out the fact that they beat Starburst with, quote, destroyed old Gen NA flops. Basically saying Jackpot sucked and we beat them. Interesting. Keep that in mind. We'll go back to that a little bit later. I personally think it's a little bit cringe if you were to say something like that while the team is still alive and can get the opportunity to beat you. And, well, Jackpot was able to do just that. But let's look at that similar situation. and see it across how we see it differently between the three different skill levels that I have decided are the three skill levels that define the competitive Splatoon community. You have not low level, not mid level, not high level, because those things don't actually exist. So let's go with low ink eligible, banned from low ink, and then the teams that actually matter, which are the top level teams. How do you determine who's a top level team? Let's just say you can actually win in the zone and not just get a pat on the back for almost making podium for that. That's my definition. You can have different ones for yourself. For low ink eligible teams, it is not as sensitive as the mainstream media would make it out to be. Yes, we have this in our mind that low ink players complain about squid bagging, or if you say anything negative towards them, they're going to cry towards the TOs or something like that. Let me confirm some things for you. Yes, we have 1,000 players that play in our event. Every now and then we do get some people that will complain to us about something their opponent said. And sometimes, actually most of the times when people complain, and you look in the Battlefied chat, yeah, it's them going a little bit extra weird and personal towards their opponent, which is a little bit cringe. And we do kind of step in and be like, hey, can you not? Like, can you just pat yourself on the back but not do that? Has anyone complained about being squid bagged in low ink? Yes. Like 2 years ago, a team made a clip of them getting squid bagged, brought it to help desk and said, so we win this match because they squid bagged us, right? And we're like, no, nowhere in our rules does that say that. And that team kind of got clowned on Twitter. But that is a outlier of the gazillion teams that played in low ink. The only team, that was like the only instance where somebody complained about being squid bagged. So like this idea that low level can't handle trash talk or can't handle anything negative is just something somebody told you and you just ran with it. It's not based on anything in reality. However, I will say this. If somebody from a low ink eligible team were to beat another team that they're rivals with or has some issues with or whatever, and they were to go to Twitter and flex on them and dunk on them in certain ways, in a way similar to what Team Toilet did with Jackpot, what would that team be met with? Oh, you're Div 5. You shouldn't be talking. You're not good enough to do any kind of trash talking right here. You're just as bad as they are. Low ink teams not knowing how to do anything because they're not good enough to do it. We found this way to like gatekeep trash talking in some sense when it comes to at least low ink eligible teams. I've seen that a lot, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. But same exact situation would be seen completely different on that level. Now, let's take it up to the next step. The not mid-level, because there's no way to define what mid-level is, and there's no way to define how you get out of mid-level. Everyone's got a different example of how you do it. Well, when you get the +2, you're officially high level. Says who? You? All right, cool. That doesn't mean anything. You don't get any award. You don't get any certificate out of that. For some reason, we give out certificates for being banned from low ink. But let's just say you are banned from low ink. You're at that +3, +2 kind of caliber. This is where I got the biggest gripe with people when it comes to this kind of category. Because you'll see a lot of people that get banned from low ink. And now their next goal is to start knocking off these teams that have always been above them, that they've always kind of looked up to. But now they're starting to play them a little bit later into these double elimination open tournaments. And now they're starting to threaten to beat them and actually beat them. And what is something we see that team do when they beat them? They go to Twitter and they're excited. Hey, we just 2-1 over this team, and they're going to list off the 4 players that are on the team. And most of the time, that's it. And that's like, fine. That's great. Like, you're allowed to be excited that you beat somebody that you see is better than you. Like, that's your way of kind of showing that you've grown. That's like your measuring stick that you're providing right there, and you're allowed to be a little bit excited. What I don't understand is when the players on the team that got beat take offense to that, and they'll come out and they'll like try to just be like, no, don't, how dare you? This is why I don't play in tournaments, because if I lose, somebody's going to be happy. Like, yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't they allowed to be that? Now, I get it. You're about to say before you clip that out of context, but Pop Gun, most of the time they're doing it to be mean. Yes, I am not talking about when you beat somebody and then you try to dogpile on them and say that they're crap and say that they're bad and that's why you beat them, which is the dumbest kind of way to celebrate winning at all, right? Like Toilets beating Jackpot. Yeah, they're allowed to say that they beat them, but why would they say that they're flops or that they're not good? What is the point of that? Isn't that like insulting yourself? You're basically saying Jackpot's not good. I mean, even us were able to beat them. Aren't you basically saying you're bad too? Like, why would you turn something positive and twist it around to be a negative for both the team you beat and yourself at the same exact time? It logically makes no sense. And I understand that happens a lot in the banned from low ink level as well. I completely understand that. And yes, I get there's times where you'll lose to somebody because you DC'd, or your dog ate your router, or your mom came in and said you got to go throw out the trash, or you were just memeing. I wasn't even trying hard. We were just using weapons. We were just trying to have fun in a tournament. You're not allowed to result us if we were just trying to have fun. Like, I understand all those things happen, but there's still multiple times where a team beats you straight up and they go on Twitter and they just say, not in a trash talky way at all, I'm just happy we beat these teams. And you take offense to that. Well, I can't play in a tournament anymore because somebody's going to be, if I lose once, somebody's going to be excited about it. It's a rite of passage. You did the same exact damn thing when you were in their position too. I've seen many people complain about being resulted on Twitter who resulted people back when they were at that level of trying to get up there as well. If you guys want to be in +3, you want to be in +2, congratulations. This comes with that territory as well. Now, again, if people are being negative about it, that's not okay, in my opinion. You're allowed to come out and say something about that. Well, I mean, it's not that you're allowed or not allowed. You're allowed to respond to any of this how you want. I'm just saying, I personally always found it cringe when you can't even be excited about beating somebody without somebody taking offense to that. Like, that, to me, is just... I hate to use the word sensitive, but it's forgetting about where you came from, because you probably did the same exact thing when you were at that level. But nobody cares about that kind of trash talk. That's just something I personally pay attention to. The best kind of trash talk is coming from the top level. Whenever Jackpot beats somebody that's punching around the same weight they are, they always have something to say about it, whether provoked or not. And I am here for it. I am all for it. And it comes with the territory being a top level team, a team at the very top that you have to deal with a whole different kind of pressure that none of us, as they admit, is something that we are used to dealing with because we've never been in that position before. Fair enough. But it's not just the issue Jackpot has been dealing with. FT Win. What is the meme with FT Win? Quad on FT Win. It became such a meme that people who aren't even playing FT Win will still reference it. But if you were to able to get a quad on FT Win, that's an easy 300 likes that you're automatically going to get. Starburst was such a thing at their peak that they claimed they got blackballed from scrims by other top level teams. The pressure of trying to be at the top for so long annoyed all the other teams, so apparently they colluded together to make sure that they didn't get any practice so that they could finally catch up and beat them. An interesting thing. We still haven't really found out much about that. It's Jackpot's turn. It's now Jackpot's turn to take a stab at this one. And yes, Jackpot routinely dunks on their opponents on Twitter. I haven't seen them like throw shade at anybody that's not at their skill level, though. There was that one time where they made fun of Nightmare in the Ink TV League, but you know, that welcome to the club, Nightmare. You know, you want to be considered one of these teams. You got to start being more competitive against them at that time. I don't even know if Nightmare's still a thing anymore or not, to be honest with you. But Jackpot can lose, doesn't even have to lose a set. They can lose a singular game. They can win a set 3-1, but that one game can get posted up on Twitter and instantly get 500 likes. Like, nobody's that excited about taking one game about anybody else. That's the different kind of pressure that Jackpot has to deal with, as well as Starburst and FT Win back during their eras. Now, to be fair, I have never seen Jackpot, when somebody went on and got excited about beating them in a singular game, to come back out and say, well, we weren't trying hard, or like try to like do some PR damage control. I feel like they've always just kind of let those things slide and allow people to be happy about it, which is, in my opinion, the right way to go about it. But every time they lose a set, though, they have to deal with something. And again, Jackpot is at a position where every time they lose, it's going to come back. Like, when they're constantly kind of, I wouldn't say they're asking for it, and I wouldn't even say that like this is like a taste of their own medicine kind of thing. But when they are constantly tweeting things out again at other people when they beat them, beating FT Win, this is the easiest win of our lives. Like, some of that's going to come back to them eventually. Maybe not in the form that we saw with the toilet, but there are going to be people that are just naturally happy to be able to beat them in that sense. Which sparked this whole conversation over the course of the weekend of what is acceptable trash talk, what isn't acceptable trash talk. And this narrative, I don't understand this narrative, but I've seen it so much. Man, if this was any other esport, you guys would get chewed up and spit out. You guys couldn't handle trash talk at other esports. Okay. All right. Did you hear my example of high school football back 15 years ago? That is way more extreme than what anything you're trying to reference, sweetheart, in these mythical other esports you're talking about. If we want to go one-upmanship, which one is a bigger douche? Like, okay, we can play this game all day long. That doesn't make any of it right. That's like, it doesn't, oh, well, it's acceptable here. That means it's acceptable everywhere else. No, that's not how that really plays out. So I don't really get that argument. And oh, by the way, if you want to play the card of comparing us with other esports, let's take it a little bit step further. How many other esports have women representing the top teams that play in them? How many other esports, when they list out who's all commentating at the LANs, have something other than just an army of people with pronouns of he, him? How many? I'm sure there's some examples you guys can throw out there, but they're probably not the communities that you guys are sitting here talking about are also like extremely hurtful and hateful with the trash talk that they're presenting out there. Like, there's some pros and cons of things, and let's not even consider Splatoon an esport at this point. I don't even think Nintendo technically does with the language they threw out with the community guideline. But this, okay, if other esports use trash talk, good for them. God bless. That's not us. That's fine. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not anti-trash talk, and I will never be anti-trash talk, especially as a TO. You don't get involved in that unless it crosses a line. Obviously, like the no-duh stuff, like racism, homophobic, like things like that are very easy to step in and be like, okay, you need to just not play in our tournaments like ever again. Like, you are crazy. Like, those things are pretty easy. The stuff that gets, like I said, in low ink, things get a little bit too personal, too weird on very, very, very limited occasions. You want to step in with that. But my philosophy with TOing in general, as I'm getting older in this scene, is realizing less TOing is better. Like, the less that you can interject yourself into the match or the tournament, the better it's going to be. And that's probably where my frustration with low ink the past couple of months has been, because I'm starting to realize you have to TO that event to death to get it to run the way it's supposed to be running. The old proving ground format that we used to have of Swiss into top 32, that tournament went by so quick because our Swiss rounds were 25 minutes and we were strict on that. And we were issuing wins for teams after 25 minutes. It made the tournament run by quick. The top teams appreciated it because they didn't have to wait around for matches that weren't going to affect them anyways. But it required more TOing and it required more poking bears of just it required more us giving people negative opinions about us because we're stepping in and closing down matches when they're supposed to be. Um, so it is frustrating when it comes to that sense, but I'm starting to realize the more you just let players handle things on their own when you can, the better. The less you get involved as a TO, the better. Especially when it comes to rules that are like gray area things, like things that could be decided one way or another. I would never have a squid bagging rule in any tournament that I would run. Like nobody does. But just think logically, how would you even apply a squid bagging rule? Because there's sometimes where somebody's squid bagging and it's just to get out of their ink, like they're trying to get a few more inches with the Rainmaker. Well, technically that is squid bagging, I guess. But would you also do it because, well, they got a double and then they just start squid bagging? Okay, maybe that's a taunt. But if everybody's wiped out and the timer's running out, are they not allowed to squid bag then? Do they just have to put your controller down, stand still, fold your arms, don't do any excessive dancing or anything? That's a taunt. Like those, that's the trouble the Pandora's box you're opening up when you put in rules that can be interpreted a lot of different ways with something like squid bagging. And that's why when it comes to trash talking, you just kind of let people handle it. Again, as long as it doesn't cross that radical line or a personal line, you just let them go at it. If you have an issue with somebody, like if Jackpot had an issue with Team Toilet saying that they're flops, you know what Jackpot can do about it? They can beat them. And they did. they beat them pretty good in the same tournament. Any kind of issues that you want to deal with, settle it in the game. You guys just got to remember this, and it doesn't just come to trash talk. It comes with everything that you put out there. Everyone's responsible of what people think about the way that you say things. I am reminded of that watch the whole episode and see everything that I said about it. Um, it's I don't really know what to present with that. The mic is cutting out. I don't really know how to fix that. Is it working right now? Well, I just said something really epic, so we'll just go with that. I can't fix the mic, so if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work at that point. Are we good? It is now. Okay. We're back. Good. Just pretend I already forgot what I was actually saying. But I was getting somewhere. Basically, I was saying everybody's responsible for their own words. Everything you say, you're responsible for. People are going to take the narrative of what you're trying to say out of context. And it seems like Team Toilet came out and added a little bit of clarification to what they were saying after Jackpot smoked them later on in that tournament. But it's the same thing. Riptide. We all remember that situation. Some people had opinions on it, but what you can't do is tell the team that Keo was yelling at how they're supposed to feel about it. That's not how that works. Whenever you trash talk, it's going to be interpreted one way or another by somebody. I don't have an issue with it. I just want people to be mindful that other people are going to not, just because I don't have an issue with it doesn't mean anyone else isn't going to. And how people are going to perceive you is going to be based off of that. It's something you got to be a little bit mindful of. And just because other esports allow it, or it's just like a common thing, cool for them. We're a little bit different in a lot of different ways. And we're allowed to be just that. For the record, I didn't have an issue with what Toilet said at all. I mean, again, I thought it was weird that they were like putting down the opponent they just beat, but Jackpot took care of that. Before the mic cuts out again, let's speed this along. Some of the weekly recap. SOS number 140 took place on Wednesday. It was won by Do You Like Lotto? Osmosis took second place in Narwhal. I'm assuming Narwhal Gaming rounds out your top three. This is the first time that SOS was on Sindao.inc. Yes, it was on start.gg for just a few months and then immediately went over to Sindao.inc. There were a lot of issues. That was the first time a group tournament was run on that website. The cool thing about Sindao.inc is that if you run a tournament on there and you want something or something doesn't work, you can just go to Sindao and be like, hey, this didn't work. And Sindao's like, all right, I just fixed it right now. So I expect SOS number 141 to have a lot less issues than the last one did. Hammerhead was won by Eggshells, Makeup Bracket won by Mutiny, and Lantern Bracket won by Fermat's Inklings. Triton Cup number 73 took place last Friday. It was won by Frutella. Cam Pine 2014 took second place, and Catnip rounds out your top three. Frutella has won like 5 Dapple Production weekly EU tournaments in the past month or so. So a strong team coming out there in this 40-team double elimination Splat Zones only tournament run bi-weekly on Fridays. Squid Junction number 73 took place last Saturday. It was won by Never Back Down, Never What? XOXO took second place, and Lock the Freak In is the team that took home the bronze. Team names sure have changed over the years. We used to get a bunch of... remember that team that used to just name themselves after the Garfield Halloween specials, like the holiday specials with that? Now we got a bunch of pickup team names that are just naming themselves after phrases you... Bob, push yourself, lock in right here. Like, that's what people are naming themselves now. It's fine. Like, they could be worse. It could be a lot worse. The second Splatoon Chess Invitational took place on Sunday, yesterday. It was won by Immel yet again, but nobody cares. The head of Ludi is apparently the best player to ever play chess in the world. I have never lost the chess match to Immel, though. That is a actual fact that is on the record. I finished second place in my group. I didn't make Top Gun. It's run by Brush. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Sea Battle. Seattle is hosting a Splatoon local starting on April the 6th. If you want more information about that, it can be found on Twitter. If you just search for Sea Battle SPL is their Twitter handle. You can find more information there. I believe Fusion is one of the people running it, and I don't know who else specifically, but if you're in the Seattle area, you too can have a LAN. Sea Battle, the official sponsor of today's segment of the weekly recap. Hello. Okay, it's back. It should be back now. I just reset it. That is weird. That is 220 episodes where I've never had a mic issue like that before. Yeah, it is just kind of cutting in and out down here in the bottom section. Um, I've also never had a power failure or like my PC shut down. Randomly, my PC does shut down and just says like you need to restart. And we do lose power in this house, not consistently, but every now and then. I've never had any of that happen in 220 episodes live. Actually, that mic issue is like the worst thing that's ever happened technology wise, which is amazing if you knew how little low effort all of this is. And if you're Brush, Falco, or JPEG, you know for a fact how low effort this entire thing is. So there you go. We're back for now. And I see the little mic thing moving up and down, so we're going to stick with that. Little Squid League number 38 is what we're taking a look at today, and then we're going to call it before something else explodes. Little Squid League number 38 made history, important history. For the first time in 38 tournaments, I commentated it. That's right. I commentated Little Squid League. Brush and I did the first 2 rounds of Top Cut, which really I was just looking for an excuse to commentate with Brush. Brush is one of my favorite people to commentate with. And we didn't get to commentate Low Ink together because I literally couldn't say anything. So I wanted to find some time to hang out with my old pal there. And no, I didn't wear my hat while I was commentating it. It's not like there's anything magical about commentating Little Squid League or any tournament at this point, really. But it is fun. I love commentating like low ink ish and below stuff. Like I really do love it because I'm kind of tired of and have run out of things to say about Pencil and Zuka. To be quite honest with you, like there's only so much you get. Wow, another great Zuka play. Like it's getting to the point to where you see a Zuka play and it doesn't kill someone, and you're like, what are they doing? Are they like even trying? Like what is going on here? So seeing something other than Zuka is in Pencil, it's just a welcome sight, and it's actually fun to commentate it because you can just kind of like try to explain at least in your head what's going on there. I mean, at one point there was a Ninja Squid E-Leader that we were commentating on stream, and I think they won. Not because they were using Ninja Squid on their E-Leader, but that team did so happen to win. I still don't know how that makes sense, but you can't argue with dubs, can you? Part of the issue with the stale meta is that people just started to realize, I guess, during like the armor phase of Splatoon 2, and definitely started to click when missile spam became a thing, that he who pops the most specials just wins. And that's kind of always the thing, right? Like, if we just have everybody firing missiles, they can't do anything but run, and they're firing nothing but missiles at us, so we're just going to run as well. So, like, special spam is just how people are going to win going forward. Like, you in the past, you wouldn't really see people using the same weapon, like 2 weapons on the same comp, but now it just makes sense, especially at the start of Splatoon 3. Splash or machine, like, take your pick. Like, which one? Do you want double booyah or do you want triple crab? It's just the way things are. And that's the way things are always going to be. And whatever the next meta is, I guarantee you it's going to be abusing one special that's broken over the other. Not so much and whatever main weapon just works best with whatever special that is. It seems to be whatever the case is. However, yes, Amsa using Yoshi in Melee is fun and was able to win Big House a couple of years ago. Fox is still dominating the scene for the past 20 years. It is what it is. But Little Squid League is the players of tomorrow. And they're not afraid to do things a little bit off meta because everybody else they're playing with is doing things off meta as well. And from the matches I was able to see, could I get a grip on who the player of tomorrow is and who the future of the competitive Splatoon scene is going to be from Little Squid League number 38? Let's find out. As we start off here, looking at the group stage as we like to do on this tournament, which is now a ladder. And what we're always going to be looking at here, besides this awesome, I didn't see this one. Their logo went away when I did that. Now I got to go back and all this stuff. All right, here we go. So the first thing we're always going to look at is who, not that. I just want to look at the ladder rate. Who is the 17th seed and who is the 16th seed, and what is the tiebreaker between them? Because this is always going to be, if there's anybody that's going to leave feedback, it's going to be this team right here in the number 17 spot. I've always found from years of getting feedback from Low Ink, it's always the teams that are not in top 32 or not in alpha bracket that have to leave feedback that suggests, here's how you should change things to where I can be in alpha bracket or top 32, even though I lost 2 teams. I'm not saying anything about L Squid Roll, but this is what I'm always going to be looking at, is this cutoff right here. And what I'm always going to see is what is that team going to do in silver bracket. And for L Squid Roll, they end up getting 3rd place, which is honestly pretty good. This is not too bad of a thing to be looking at right here. Traditionally, silver bracket, let's say 20 Little Squid Leagues ago, was literally just the bottom teams. Like, it was just the worst teams from the group stage still getting a bracket. Here, this isn't even the top 50%. Like, you could get the out of the 80 teams, you could be in the top 40 and still not make it in the silver bracket. So silver bracket is stronger and more competitive than what it's ever been in the past. Hint, hint, this is by the fact that Sommerzite, the Whip Rays, and Shy Gaia is here. Painted Knights as well. I forgot about this team. But Seasick, the team that ended up in 4th place, is another one of those teams that's been around for a long, long time. Is just an example that this is not your grandpa's silver bracket. This is just way tougher than what it's ever been before. The teams that won this tournament or finished in the top 2 of the silver bracket here, 88 star that it's flying. So this is a 88 shooting star, I'm assuming, who only dropped 1 game this entire time to land crabs before sweeping everybody else. Man, I wonder what happened in this game 3. I wonder if like land crabs almost beat them, and if they did, they would be the team that 3-0s everybody. It's just one of those things where, and I'm going to be talking about seeding a little bit later, but seeding does play a role in these first 2 rounds more so than anything else, because this match was probably the scariest thing 88 had in their run to winning this whole tournament, or the whole silver bracket. Ink Drinkers, we need to have a talk. The reason you guys are sweeping everyone and then losing 3-0 in grand finals is because your name is Ink Drinkers. You need to stop doing that. That's poisonous. You shouldn't be drinking ink. I don't think I need to Google to see if that's just something you don't need to be doing. If you guys want to make it out and play your best at the end of the tournament, drink some water or like some Gatorade or like anything. At this point, anything other than than ink would be a huge upgrade for you guys. So please do yourselves a favor. Don't be doing that anymore. Just a little friendly PSA from your old pal Popgun here. Let's look at gold bracket. Now, we can't go anywhere until we acknowledge the starfish elephant in the room. Right here in match number 6, you had Starfish taking on the Starfishers in a round 1 best of 3 match. For some reason, we didn't stream this one. which is good because that would have been annoying to commentate. But in reality, the Starfishers should have won, right? Like the Starfishers, by definition, are hunters, and the Starfish is the hunted in this scenario, and the hunted was able to sweep them. Like they Bugs Bunnied them in round one. I feel like Starfishers should take offense to this. I feel like they should set up scrims with Starfish, find them, and make sure that they never lose to this team again. Because by definition, they should be the counter to what they're trying to present right there. Alley Cats ultimately eliminating them from the tournament anyway, so didn't get that far. One thing, so I was talking about the seeding in this. And I kind of alluded to this during the tournament on Saturday when I was commentating it. The seeding for this, because it's coming out of the ladder stage, doesn't really matter. Like, is Pixelated Nightmare truly the number 1 seed, and is Alley Cats truly the number 2 seed? Well, if you look how the fact that they went to grand finals against each other and it went to a game 5, yeah, probably. Maybe that throws my theory completely out of the water. However, the team that actually went undefeated is Hazard Level Minimum. They went 6-0 in the ladder stage. They didn't lose a single match. In fact, they only lost one match the entire tournament, and it was to Pixelated Nightmare 3-0 before they won in the third place match. But this is, I like the strategy, because there is strategy you have to employ, and you have to change on the fly if you want to get a good seed and actually try to win the ladder tournament. Hazard Level Minimum got to 6 wins. They could have tried and queued up and get like another win so that they can get better than a 4th seed and try to get like a number 1 seed or something like that. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because like all your opponents are confusing anyways. Like, would you rather, like if Pixelated Nightmare, who did have a loss in the ladder stage, they could have fallen down or something like that, and you might have had to play them a little bit earlier in a best of 3 stage instead of a best of 5. Or you might play someone else that you want to dodge. Maybe like Traffic Cones is a team that's traditionally given them issues and they don't want to play them. And if they do a little bit better, maybe they see them a little bit sooner. Like there's no true, yes, I get to play the number 16 seed. This is great. Like that doesn't exist in any low-level tournament, quite honestly. In a double limb or a single limb where like this like actually seeded by human beings or by Syndaku points, yeah, that plays a factor. So have Hazard Level Minimum saying, hey, we've got 6 wins. There's like nothing we can truly gain by going for 7. What if we just stopped and rest up? I think that's the right play. If I was Hazard Level Minimum, I probably would approach ladder the same way. Let's just get as many wins as we can, guarantee a spot in top 16, and stop playing the video game. Let's put our controllers down. Let's not burn ourselves out. Like, you get nothing by continuing to play more sets. And teams that just like, in between games, I'm just going to play a solo queue match so I can stay warm. No, put your controllers down. Do something else. I don't know if that's what Hazard Level Minimum did, but just by looking at how they went through the ladder stage, I feel like they played it strategically correct. That is ultimately ran into a team that was going to give them issues no matter what. They didn't end up winning 3rd place, though. Traffic Cones is the team that finishes in 4th place. I don't have anything to say about Traffic Cones because I don't know much about them, and their name isn't that horrible. I will say this, though. In 4 years, somebody on Traffic Cones is going to have to go onto Twitter and is going to have to say, what team do you know me from? And they're going to have to put down Traffic Cones as one of the 4 teams that you can vote on the Twitter poll. Like, that's something they have to do. That's their burden to deal with. Nobody else's, though. For grand finals of this event, Alley Cats versus the Pixelated Nightmare team. By the way, Pixelated Nightmare did not lose a single game up to this set. Alley Cats had to deal with Starfish in an awkward game 3 and then had to deal with Traffic Cones in 4 games. Watch this set. Pretty good back and forth. Pixelated Nightmare winning game 1, which means they should be in control of the entire set. What is this? Dancing Xbox controller. Had to be in control of this entire set. All you got to do is win on your counter picks, and you're going to win the set. Well, they kept picking Rainmaker, and they lost on it the first time. They won on it the second time that they picked it. And Knox made a comment. Knox and Pat were commentating this one. Knox made a comment of, well, Pixelated Nightmare is using Tint, and they did. They were using Tint a lot, and they were pretty good with it. Why weren't they counterpicking Clan Blitz? And that could just be a fact that they're not that comfortable with Clan Blitz. But you see, no, absolutely not. Kid, what the heck? I thought it was interesting how they kept going to Rainmaker instead of Clan Blitz, or at least try Clan Blitz at some point. But when you have control of hold on, how do you? Where's the? There it is. There we go. All right, that was weird. Anyways, so Alley Cats ends up winning this tournament, mowing them down in the Game 5 Robo Ramen using double Splatling. Double Splatling. Nautilus and Heavy Edit. They were going out there. So they technically used Soda to win this tournament. Fair enough. And it just makes me think, man, if they played a pencil team, and I hate to sit here and think about this, but it's like, man, if they just went up against a pencil team, that would cause some issues that they have to go up against right there. But they didn't. They ended up winning this tournament. And if you're wondering who Alley Cats is, they're a team that won third place last month in Little Squid League, only losing to the team that ended up winning the entire tournament. They got swept by 69 Supe. Pixelated, I have absolutely no info about them. No way do I actually know what's up with Pixelated Nightmare. I saw that their captain played in Ladder Squid League, which is a tournament I completely forgot about, but obviously it was good that they did that because it now is something they can figure out how to navigate through when they're actually running this tournament. But Alley Cats, with their double Splatling nonsense, and I believe they use some Range Blaster mixed in there as well sometimes, they win Little Squid League number 38. And now it's always the question of what are you going to do in low ink? We'll get the answer to that in a couple of weeks, if not longer. And that's it. I think we're done here. We've navigated some mic issues. We had some weirdo in chat that is not going to show up on the VOD on YouTube, which is great. And life goes on here. Again, make sure you sign up for Proving Grounds. Make sure you watch the charity event on Saturday, and then sign up and play in the charity tournament on Sunday. It is a 2-day event. You guys are gonna, if you guys didn't play in the last shopping spree tournament hosted by Spawn Point TV, you're gonna love this tournament format that they got. It's a lot of fun. And it's a good way to kind of limit the meta in an interesting kind of way. Who are these people? I don't know who this person is. We're going to raid them anyways. They're streaming Splatoon. If they're cringe, I'm sorry. With that being said, Popgun is unaware that some of us do not burn out. You're going to get older someday. It catches up to you. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast anyway, feel free to reach out. Discord, Popgun, YouTube at Popgun, at 25 Popgun. Just Popgun this, Popgun that. Reach out. Make sure you guys get vaccinated. Stay safe. Wear a mask. If you're in Seattle, go out and sign up for the Seattle event, and we will see you guys this weekend with Proving Grounds. How about that?